Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, indeed. Hey, you guys, I just wanted to come right back. I've got my friend Deaunte Damper here in the studio. But for those that are just joining us, I just wanted to kind of introduce myself and let you know, my name is Chukundi Salisbury, and I am, in fact, a candidate for the 37th District State Representative, and that's everything from, like, the CD all the way to downtown Renton, Beacon Hill, roughly, all the way to Lake Washington. And obviously, that's one of the most diverse areas in the state. And we want to maintain that diversity, and that's one of the reasons I'm running, is to halt the march of gentrification and allow our elders and others to age in place and keep the diversity of this community. So, I'm clearly not a politician. I've worked for the city for 23 years. I've been a community activist my entire life, a servant leader here in the community at many organizations. I've founded organizations, and there's a lot about me. I encourage everybody to go up and read the entire platform at chukundi.com. Okay, and but again, the main thing that I really want to get by at each one of these segments and let you know is that the reason that I'm running for office, if you had to put it in one sentence, is that I want our collective intent. I want our collective intent to match the impact of that intent. And what's happening is that the impact of our intent is not matching. It's not matching the intent, okay? And so as we've had great policies over the years, really progressive, high ideas from people that really mean well. When you look at the numbers, around black wealth, homelessness, who's failing out of our schools, who our schools are failing, it really comes, you can see the outcome is that our impact is not matching the intent at all. And it's time for a new voice for the new normal, and I'm trying to be that voice for you. And so with that being said, this is in fact a fundraiser. So I love for you guys to go ahead and go to chukundi.com or click on any of the links. Make sure the link is in the chat there, fellas. And we're going to move on to this next segment. So I've got Deaunte Damper down here. This is a great young man. I've known him for a long time, just as being a great community activist around the community. He's obviously been a huge presence in the LGBTQ, actually really QTPOC community for a long time. And we've done some really great events and everything. I know that he's been named, he made some national news a couple years ago as he became the chair of the LGBTQ chair of a major organization. That was national news, and he's continuing to take that on the rise. And I'm just happy that you could join us on this fundraiser here today.
I'm just really happy that you have me here. Because when it all comes down to it, the thing about your campaign, you're all about inclusion.
Yes, sir.
You've always, and this isn't just a campaign of, I'm just starting this. You've been doing this, if I'm not mistaken, right? Your family is, shout out to your whole family. But when I say for you in particular, because when I was young coming up, you were a part of one of the organizations that I used to work with. Which one was it again?
Oh, my goodness. We've done so many, so I was a part of, I did all the events for POCAN, obviously early back in the days with Sheila, rest in peace. Did a lot of work for Vicky at the bookstore over the years. Vicky. Brother to Brother with Paul Green and those guys, and Sister to Sister. I've been a constant presence, I would say, in the QTPOC, especially community, for a long time.
Before it was trending.
Yeah, before it was trending.
We see a lot of politicians come into the spaces like, we've been all about inclusion.
Right.
And at the end of the day, we are so happy that people have made it here now. But when I think back when I was 15 and trying to pass out flyers to get into the spaces, and you giving me the flyers, helping me build up my confidence, that type of support. is what we know that all youth are going through in this space. But
right.
you and your family has always had a legacy, but especially you have built a lot of our confidence in these spaces.
Well, you know why? The reason why, I would say that I've been an ally in the community ever since my brother Hiram, rest in peace, came out in the 80s. And my brother Hiram, he had a perm and wore flats in 1985. Okay, so be clear. And that was a life you were risking your life at that time, even with. As progressive and Capitol Hill was an enclave, but outside of Capitol Hill, you were really risking your life to or at least your well-being. And my brother took that abuse, and he would say all the time, that I'm doubly damned because I'm black and I'm gay, right? And so my brother was a senior and I was a junior, right? And now my brother could fight, so I used to, the people didn't want to say a lot to him because you had to learn how to fight.
Absolutely,
that's for real.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because in 1985 there was no reveal parties. Okay, people were in the closet.
That's deep.
Okay, there was no reveal party. I look online now and I see folks having a reveal party. I was talking to Ivana, and at the Taking Back Pride, right?
Yeah.
And that was such a great event, and everybody's just being themselves. And
absolutely.
Every day I wish that my brother could just be here right now and be himself, because he had to fight every day.
Yeah.
And he's the one that really made me an ally. And I think, most people that day when you find out, however your cousin or your family identifies, is the day that you make that choice to become the ally of allies. Or not. And some people still don't accept their family, but I made a conscious choice to make it part of my life to be an ally and to always use my voice and my platform to create safe spaces, for my people. And, obviously that's been through entertainment over the years as the DJ for Emerald City Black Pride.
If he ain't never inboxed you on MySpace asking you to pay for the pictures you stole. And that's appreciated. But even me, I came back home 3 years ago.
Right.
And just now, then here I am in the same footsteps as you, in the spaces of Spokane, working. And doing the Pacific Northwest Pride, and me, you, and Tyrone doing Soul Pride. Can we talk about the Soul Pride?
Yeah,
though?
you know what? When I came up with the idea of Soul Pride, I had been talking to my people for so long, and what we realized there's still a lot of work to be done in the LGBTQ community, as you know,
Absolutely.
for the work that you've been doing. Because what I found is that people said, hey, we're not accepted at some of these places. They accept, of course, our sexuality because that's something we all have in common, but they don't accept us with our culture.
With our culture.
And we need to create some spaces. So, when I had the Twilight, me and Hilra did our first...
Shout out to Mother Hilra, Auntie.
Yeah, shout out to her. We did our first Pride party then. And then I've just been doing a Pride, an urban Pride event.
Absolutely.
And then obviously, me and Tyrone and you, we kicked
Shout
it off with Soul Pride.
Yeah.
And so, for anybody that's watching, make sure you go on Instagram and check out Soul Pride NW. That's our page. That's our organization that we have to create safe spaces. But the Soul Pride was it was so much fun because, first of all, just selfishly, I would keep it real. Every time I have a Pride event and I see all my beautiful QTPOC folks having a great time, I could just see my brother in the middle of the crowd with his perm and with his jellies on and just having a great time, man. And that's why I do it. I do it for him,
Well, can I just say this though? What I respect and why I will continue to personally endorse you is because you want to make sure that people are included everywhere. You're not asking other areas where we're supposed to be cornered at, like Capitol Hill. No shade towards Capitol Hill, love Capitol Hill, but you're saying community of all spaces, let me create space for you. And I think that once you get there in that 37th district, that you'll continue that same legacy in office.
Well, yeah, and I guess, that's one of the things that's so exciting about this campaign, Deaunte, is that we just got the receipts. I was talking to some folks the other day from CMAC, right? And they said, well, tell us your experience. And I had to run it down. And I used most of the time in the interview about my entire experience. Like, I'm not just telling people, I'm not just throwing on a rainbow flag and kind of telling folks what they want to hear. This has been a lifelong allyship for me.
Absolutely.
And we continue that. And I can't wait to take that to the state level and be able to, to fight on behalf of my people.
Well, I personally will say thank you so much for being my mentor. I will continue to support you. And I do want to say this to community.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's one thing when you say that you're going to be there, but it makes an impact when you show up. For the past 25 plus years, I know that Chukundi has been doing that. And I myself will be donating $100 and challenge everybody else to donate $100 to his campaign.
All right.
And I appreciate you, brother, because I think that you showing up for some of us in our community, some of us got from you that we learned how to show up for ourselves and others.
I appreciate that, man. So listen, we need everybody to go ahead and make that donation. As you heard in the last segment, the money, we really need it to augment and amplify and get this message out. I know it's lots of people watching now that know me and know Deaunte, but it's lots of people who just moved to this district. They don't know about us, and so we just have to amplify it, and that's why we need your donations. And I know we got to keep on time. We're going to bring on Reverend Walden in the next segment, right? But
I love her.
Before she comes on, I just want to tell this story, another story about my brother Hiram, and the type of person my mother is, right? And I know all the, the older folks say, well, the apple didn't fall far from the tree. That's what they say about me, right? But as it pertains to, me and your conversation, Hiram had already came out to us, right? And of course, my mother always knows, right? But it really all hit the fan. I believe it might have been in 1984, 1985, when my mom busted into Hiram's room, and we had a good friend named Teray that was staying with us. And so Hiram had his own entrance to the house, right? It was like a little back door.
Yeah.
And so Hiram would have people come over, right? And they had been kicked out of their house. And, we've always been accepted. This is the way I was raised, and I'm sorry I'm getting this emotional about my brother, but, I didn't mean to come out here and cry, man, but I'm just telling y'all that it's real. When I talk about my brother Hiram and the space that he had in this community, and I'm going to always keep his legacy right, okay? So Hiram, when people got kicked out of, this is 1985 and 1984, and when people, people's lives was on the line, you was getting disowned for being gay. Okay, my mom made a household, and she said, listen, if you've been kicked out of your house, or you have, your parents have let you go, you're welcome here. And we had a home, for that. And Hiram created space. So I have a lifetime of creating and being a part of creating safe spaces for people who have been persecuted around their sexuality. And so, I'm gonna tighten it back up.
I appreciate you, brother.
My man. I just had to say that, and it's because of her. This is where I get this from. Like, that really happened. And I remember that because my room was kind of closer, so she had to come through my room to kick in the door, right? Who's in there, right? And so anyway, I'm sorry, y'all.
She said she used to have a sign. She tells me the story all the time.
Right.
She had a sign on her door that everybody was welcome.
Yeah, everybody's always been welcome, and that's just not talk.
Yeah.
Okay, we got all these signs in people's yard. I love this neighbor, and I do this, and Black Lives Matter. We want to put it on the line.
Absolutely.
Put it on the line. We want action, and I want to see it. And my mom was a great, and still is a great example of putting it in action. So with that being said, we're gonna move on to the next thing. I'm sorry, but we're gonna bring her on. We're gonna take a small break, y'all. Make sure that you donate. Please donate to the campaign. It's very important. If you want to donate via Cash App, you can text us at 206-551-5528. and I'll text you the Cash App. And the reason why we don't have the Cash App on the screen is because there's, there's basically disclosures. You got to have a person's real name, to be able to do a political contribution. This is not a car wash or selling some Jordans or something. You know what I mean? It's not a haircut. When you make a donation in a political campaign, we need your whole name. And that's why I'm not putting the Cash App up. So text us, and you can, in fact, Cash App us, okay? So we'll be right back with the next segment, and I appreciate and love y'all. Thank you.